both of them.
Let's get started with the caveat that our president, who usually leads these meetings, is not here tonight. So it's going to be me. Be patient as I try to work through all of this and be a host as well. So welcome. Don't put any personal information into the chat. We discovered that we had people that were cloning accounts and getting in and doing mischievous things. And we don't want that to happen again. We're not sure if that'll work or not, but we think they got the ability to clone from the chat room. So don't put anything that people can clone in there if you don't mind. So instead, I'm going to have Kristen just take down your name. You can verbally say it. So let's go through this. I'm Giselle. I'm with the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County. I'm the coordinator. Greg, can you introduce yourself, please?
Greg Dinger, Mount Shasta West.
Cindy, would you introduce yourself, please?
I am Cindy Hammer, retired citizen.
Cindy, we'd like to put you on the email list. So would you please, oh, we can't put it in chat. You can email it back to me, I guess. I don't know.
I will do that.
So Alex Varner.
I think it works if she just sends me an individual message. It's when people put their cell phone or email into the group chat that everyone can see that it was a problem. So if you just send me an individual message with your information.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cindy, when you go into chat, it will give you a little drop down list, send to everyone or send to an individual. So you only want to send it to Kristen
Norman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Kristen, introduce yourself.
I'm Kristen Norman. I am Giselle's administrative assistant for the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County.
Tom March. Tom. We can't hear you. Okay. All right, my list keeps bouncing.
The joy of Zoom.
Yeah. Tom is with Caltrans. I'm not sure what's happening there. Linda
Shaban with Dunsmuir, DPAC and Fire Safe Committee.
All right. Daniel Prelip.
Hi, Daniel Prelip from Dunsmuir. I started with the Fire Safe Council 16 years ago.
All right.
I'm a consulting forester.
Jeremy Johnson.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Johnson. I am the new pre-fire engineer for the Siskiyou unit, taking over for Jake Burgess.
And let me see here. I'm going to make Linda a co-host, and I'm going to make Kristen a co-host, and I was just trying to get that done. Jessica Matthews.
Hello, I'm Jessica Matthews. I'm the program director at the Mount Shasta Bioregional Ecology Center, and specifically our Community Fire Resiliency Program is why we're here today.
All right. Julie Titus.
Hi, Julie Titus, and I am retired Forest Service, and I've been helping in community wildfire protection with various agencies and entities for, I'd say 12 years, roughly now. Yeah.
Delphine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Delphine. I work for the Shasta Valley Resource Conservation District and the Siskiyou PBA.
Okay. Kim Zinio, say it for me, Kim. Oh, you're gonna stay on mute.
It's
okay. There's
that's
Kim.
okay. It's Graziano, and I'm with the Mount Shasta Bioregional Ecology Center. Thanks.
Yeah. Lulu Alexander.
Hi, I'm Lulu. I work for the Cuttick Tribe Department of Natural Resources.
All right, good to have you. Susie Brady.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Susie Brady. I'm the Fire Prevention Specialist, Information Officer for the CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit.
Welcome. Supervisor Nancy Ogren.
You said it. Supervisor Nancy Obrin, Siskiyou County, District 4.
Welcome. Let me go through here now because every time somebody says something, the whole list jumps around. So did I miss anybody? Greg?
Hey, yeah,
Alex.
Alex Varner here with,
Hi, Alex.
with Salmon River Restoration Council.
Oh, hi, Alex. Glad to have you here.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Looks like Jessica's on, Jessica Matthews.
Oh, I think she introduced herself already.
Oh.
Didn't you, Jessica?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was just someone trying to come in in the waiting room. Did you see that, Giselle? Did you let them in?
No, I didn't see it.
And then it went away. So before I could click on it. So I didn't catch the name.
Well, it might have been Tom because I think something's happening because he comes in and goes out, Tom with Caltrans. So, all right. And Margie King, she's Juniper Flat Fire Safe Council and one of our board members. And she says she's having an issue with Zoom, but she's trying to get on. So, does anybody have anything they would like to add to the agenda, or are they good with how it is? Oh, Nick Russell. Okay. No comments? Nobody wants to add anything to the agenda? Okay, well, we're going to start out with CAL FIRE, and I'm not sure who's going to speak, whether it be Susie or Jeremy, but we would like you to not only give an update what's going on with CAL FIRE, but talk a little bit about the prevention grant opportunity.
Well, good evening, Giselle. I'm going to start it off and then Jeremy will talk about the grant stuff. So we've had a lot of change, obviously, here recently in the CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit. For those who don't know, Chief Anzo did retire back in December. We now have Unit Chief Daryl Laws. Our operations chief is Greg Roth. And then our admin officer is Kent Cunningham, which used to be Battalion 3's BC out there, Battalion Chief. So with that vacancy, we now have Scott Irvine is the Battalion 3 area. So if you live in the Weed, Hammond Ranch area, that would be your local battalion chief you want to communicate with. Like Jeremy said, he took over for Jake Burgess. Jake Burgess is now the battalion chief out in Battalion 1, so the Fort Jones, Quartz Valley, Scott Valley area. We've also, Larry Turman has stepped down from a BC and Battalion 4. He's now a relief battalion. He's in charge of our fuels projects. So we do have a vacancy there in the Mount Shasta, McLeod area. We hired a new prevention chief. His first day will start is actually Monday. He's not new to the prevention world. He's just new to the Siskiyou family. His name is Darren Stewart, and he comes from the Shasta unit. So we're excited to have him. Besides that, the big thing is the hot topic, I should say, is burn permits. All burn permits are online now. So any type of burning, from a agricultural burn to a broadcast burn to a debris burn, you have to go online to get that permit now. It's a new process, but if you need help walking through it, please do not hesitate. Reach out to myself or Jeremy. We'll be more than happy to help you with that. Besides that, I don't really have any more CAL FIRE information that I can think of if you don't have anything for me. So I'll turn it over to Jeremy to talk about the grants.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So I've put a link to the wildfire prevention grants webpage online, so that way everyone can get onto the wildfire prevention page, and then basically you're just going to click the link that says FY, which is fiscal year 2022-2023 wildfire prevention grants solicitation and grants portal. And then basically I'll just go through and kind of highlight. So this wildfire prevention grant, it opened on December 14th of 2022. It's going to close coming up here in another 6 weeks or so on March 15th, 2023. And then just kind of going over some of the changes. Your equipment purchase cap increased from 250,000 up to 750,000 now for cumulative. And the maximum allowable funding amount is capped out at 5 million. And this is 5 out of 120 total million allocated for intended projects, and that includes grazing projects. So you'll have to kind of excuse me. I'm kind of new to this program, been around for just a few months, and so I don't have like a ton of information. I also wanted to go over some of the projects we currently have in the unit, and that is 6 active projects currently. There's 5 projects that we've completed, and then we have 3 projects in the planning phase. And so remember with these grants that you need to reach out to the local battalion chief that's in the battalion that you're looking to get the work done in. And if anybody wants to sidebar with me later, I can get you kind of lined out. They're the ones that look at the projects and give the forestry department either the thumbs up and kind of prioritize everything. After that March deadline, we will be grading and scoring all of the grant projects, and a lot of that's weighted on what the battalion chief thinks are their priorities. So it's all of your guys' job to do your due diligence, get the paperwork in, make those contacts with the battalion chiefs, and sell your project to them. And that's all I got.
Well, what are we to do with Larry Turman not being there? Who do we talk to about South County projects?
Yeah, so Larry will still be available for the time being until we transition someone new into that position and he gets his pass down. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to wear 2 hats until we can get someone else in that position and up to speed.
Thank you. Any questions for these guys?
I have a quick question, Giselle.
Okay.
I couldn't get notes on all the positions. There's so many changes, Susie, but you guys will have that in the notes, right? All those different names and positions, correct?
We'll try. I tell you, Kristen is
Yeah, I was
amazing.
having, actually, if Susie, if you wouldn't mind sticking
I'll
that
email you. I'll
chat
email right now.
Yeah, because I couldn't keep up typing fast enough in the notes. I was gonna have to re-listen, to the
Yeah, no
record.
problem. I'll give it to you.
But that'd be great. Thanks.
All right. Any more questions? All right, well, we're going to move on to a Forest Service update, but I did not see a Forest Service rep tonight. Is there anyone? All right, so we'll move on to OES. I don't believe they're here. And then Nancy.
No.
Okay.
One of the main updates they would be doing is your snow survey work. Maybe you want a snow survey readings. You want to share that? I noticed, I just got home and I saw that you had.
I sent that out, but I don't have it up. Do you have it up, Julie?
I don't. I literally just got home from the Bay Area, so I didn't.
Oh.
I saw your note, but I had to jump on this and didn't even look yet.
Well, it says it's better than last year. That's all I remember. Let me see if I can find it again. And while I'm looking for that, Nancy, would you go ahead and give your update? Hello, Nancy.
You're muted, Nancy.
See that you missed the best part of my update already, so. So it's not all quite fire and forest related, but I was just trying to go through my notes and figure out what I was going to talk about. Supervisor Chris and I have been working on a fuels reduction and juniper reduction project, and we actually have a technical assistance grant for that through NCRP. So we're working on that, and it also includes some groundwater recharge and habitat restoration in Siskiyou County. So we're hopeful that that's gonna actually turn into a real project instead of just technical assistance. So that's kind of cool. We also, Collier Interpretive Center up at the Collier Rest area I've been working on a grant for them for a river walk, which is kind of an educational thing along the Klamath. And that's going to talk about forest health and forest resiliency, wildfire management practices, and the local flora and fauna. So that's about a mile-long walk along the river there. We've got a technical assistance grant for that. We had a presentation at the Board of Supervisors meeting last Tuesday. Yeah, it was yesterday. It seemed like a long time ago. From the forester Lorelei Phillips from Pacific Corps, and she talked about right-of-ways and line patrol and tree patrol and all of their PUC mandated regulations now because of fire and all of that good stuff. And it was a pretty nice program. Actually, she did a really great job for us. So that added a lot to our meeting yesterday. That was she started off with a 10-minute presentation that landed up being about 30 minutes. I did talk to Rachel Smith from the Klamath National Forest today, and it looks like they could be awarded, well, they're number 5, one of 5 being looked at for a $1.5 million housing and urban development grant for some housing for Forest Service employees and public. And it's looking like maybe 20 units-ish for housing in and around Wairika, which is kind of neat, considering that we're in such a housing crisis right now. So that was kind of interesting information that I heard about today. It's still in the works. So I don't know how public it is right now, but it wasn't private. So I'm sharing it anyway. And then, of course, there's always, dam removal, which I know is controversial, but it is what it is. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. We have open meetings every month now, the Board of Supervisors. So if anybody's interested in what's going on, come to our meetings. They're always listed on the county website. So you can come and sit and listen to us chat about what's happening with status updates and everything that's going on with the dam removal, if anybody cares about it. So there are no secrets anymore. There never have been as far as we were concerned. So if you have any questions or want to come join us at our meetings, there's always public there. We've had our first one in January and it lasted, I don't know, an hour and a half or so. And they're kind of informative. So that's pretty much all I have.
Well, thank you. That was relative. Good news.
Yeah, thanks.
Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association. Anybody here from there?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
We have been in like workshop preparation mode and workshop mode. We hosted a burn plan writing workshop January 20th at College of the Siskiyous in Wairika, which was well attended, and people learned a lot. Lots of interested landowners showed up. And we are hosting a burn pile workshop on March 18th. And information is coming out on that soon, so keep an eye out. Just general outreach and education and working with landowners to get burn plans written. So if you're interested, contact me, or if you want to be on the email list for any of our workshops, you can sign up on the Shasta Valley RCD website. Yeah.
Thanks, Delphine. They do great work. So the snowpack. The email says snowpack across Klamath National Forest starts 2023 with above historic average. And I won't read the whole thing, but it says the atmospheric river, which started out the new year, brought a good amount of snow to much of the local high country around Scott River Valley. Subsequent cooler temps have helped to maintain the snow despite mostly dry weather since mid-January. Consequently, the overall snowpack is above above the long-term average for this time of year. According to measurements taken in February, the snowpack is at 125% of the historic average snow height and at 129% of the historic average snow water equivalent. Historically, snowpack reaches its annual maximum by late March, early April. So that's good news. We haven't had a snowpack like that in a while. And you can go to the Klamath National Forest website and this information will be on there. There's a lot more, there's tables, a lot more text. So anyway, that's the snowpack information. Moving on, E. Our F, USDA NRCS, he's not here. James Patterson, Siskiyou Air Quality is not here. The sheriff is not here today. Pac Power is not here today, but Nancy had a little update that they were at their meetings. Scott River Watershed Council, anybody here from there? Delphine, are you part of that?
No.
Okay. CHP is not here. The NRM portion of the county is not here. Stevens funding has not opened for this spring, but they will. The Stevens funding, also known as the Wyden Amendment, is USDA Forest Services opportunity for fuel reduction and fire education. We've gotten several of those through the years, and we're working on a couple of those projects right now, and we really appreciate the Forest Service for offering up those opportunities. But currently, we will send out notices when they do come open. So, Mount Shasta Bioregional, do you have an update for us?
Yeah, we're continuing with community education and outreach and community fuel reduction efforts on private landowner land. We have some community events in the works in collaboration with the All for the Fireskeeping workshop. And then for May 6th, it's the National Wildfire Community Preparedness Day. So really excited about assisting with that and working on that. Otherwise, we're connecting and collaborating. We have a meeting coming up with Prescribed Burn Association, Siskiyou Land Trust and Hill Road about doing some outreach and collaborative education work with the West Mount Shasta Fire Resiliency Project. And then this fall, kind of projecting out, we're looking to hold some kind of hands-on workshops that I'd love to collaborate with y'all on. We can talk offline about that. But also we're looking at doing a post-wildfire native plant restoration event in the fall. We pushed it back a little bit farther, but kind of trying to follow up, do a community healing event in a way, and see if we can get some native plant propagation and planting events happening on private land. Would love collaborators on that as well. That's the gist of it.
Any questions for Jessica?
Just that we should schedule a meeting to talk about all that. I have a really awesome possibility of huge greenhouse on Northwold Stage that we're going to be starting a farm school at this property, and it would be awesome if we could have our kids that are part of that start propagating native plants. I used to be a botanist actually for a few different timber companies doing their rare and endangered native plant surveys for the THPs and stuff. So so that's kind of close to my heart and my experience. So I would love to get kids propagating native plants in this giant greenhouse that we now have
Get
access
together soon.
Yeah. Good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So now let's move on to the local Fire Safe Council updates. Black Mountain, nothing new for them. Butte Valley is working on they received a Stevens grant, and they're going to be doing some acreage over there. We're working with them to make that happen. Copco Lake, nothing today. Dunsmuir, Linda?
Okay, Dunsmuir, we are getting ready to, we're in the process of implementing our Dunsmuir Fuels Mitigation Project, which is one of the CAL FIRE fire prevention grants. We're doing this in collaboration with the Fire Safe Council and Giselle and Kristen. And so that, just to remind everyone, that's a big project. It's 2 parts. We're going to Siskiyou, a large part of Dunsmuir, which is about, we're going to Siskiyou about 650, let me just double check here, 690 acres. 690 acres will be Siskiyou, and then we're going to do fuel reduction on approximately 183 acres. And that's the really badly needed roadside fuel reduction in the south part of Dunsmuir on those evacuation routes going out of town, almost, well, actually all the way to North Castella. So we will touch a part of Shasta County as well. And then my role is changing a little bit, and we're kind of in a transition because, as some of you know, I was doing a lot of this work through the official city advisory committee, the Dunsmuir Disaster Planning Advisory Committee. And I've been on that committee for 4 years, and I'm terming out after this month. And I'm going to transition to work with develop a new leadership team and develop our FireWise, our Fire Safe Committee. And we want to piggyback on all the work that we did with CORE, with the Fire Safe Council, and the FireWise possibilities that we have for Dunsmuir. And Kristen's been very involved in helping us do that. And so we're transitioning. Pretty soon we'll have a large community meeting, and then we're going to have regular public meetings on a monthly basis so we can get more people back involved. So it's all good news from Dunsmuir.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. Linda's done a whole lot of work already, and things are moving forward. And yeah, and as we're moving out, about to talk about that, Julie, you have a word? Okay, let's see. Are you there, Julie?
I'm here. Yeah, I just, since you were talking about it a minute ago, I said I can do it at the end, but if you'd wanted me to share that at the end, I can. I
Okay.
sent a thing to screen share. You'll see in your email right there.
Okay, let's share it at the end then. Let's move on to Greater Weed. No one here. Hammond Ranch. If you're here, say that I'm from there and know something. So Hammond's Ranch. Okay, Happy Camp. Michael Hintz is their coordinator, and he couldn't be here, but he sent quite a paragraph, and he also sent a little video showing some fire on the ground, prescribed fire. For the life of me, I can't share it. But Kristen, would you kind of summarize or read what Michael had to say there?
Sure. He says quick updates, but it's pretty long-winded. So they are getting a new industrial chipper tomorrow. So that's a big deal. This will be used both for community wildfire protection, defensible space projects, as well as with contracts in partnership with the U.S. Forest Service on roadside brush clearance and possibly an emergency wildfire protection response. If you're interested in using this chipper in your fuel reduction projects in the, not too many people are in the mid-Klamath region, but he's got his email there. They're hoping to follow up on fuel reduction work around the high school and Happy Camp with prescribed underburns later this month. So they had a furlough on their Happy Camp crew over break and will be returning February 13th. They have quite the crew out there, 7 full-time equivalent employees. So they're doing great stuff with their staff out there. I think that they're partnering with Hope for Happy Camp to include debris and trash removal as part of their funding they got from CAL FIRE and the National Fish and Wildlife Federation to increase residential defensible space. They also have gotten significant funding through a number of partners to increase their work to assist community wildfire protection and resiliency. They have an annual report they just published. It's linked in the, I can put that in the chat if anyone's interested in that.
Thank you, yes.
And that's about it.
All right, I'm sorry I can't share the clip. It's real short. It's only 19 seconds, but it's kind of fun to see fire on the ground and doing good work. So, all right, let's move on to Horse Creek. Juniper Flat. Margie, did you ever get on? Nope, she's not here. Oh, good.
I did it.
All right.
All right. As you may or may not know, we are managing a CAL FIRE prevention grant in the Shasta Vista area of Shasta Vista subdivision. It's about the evacuation route, doing fuel reduction on two sides of 20 miles of road. And we recently installed, there's 73 evacuation signs. Those are in 65 locations. There's eight locations. There are 2 signs because it's a place where we felt people should know which way to go if they can't go the chosen route. So we point you to the closest exit. You can't go there, follow the sign on the bottom. We recently, just in the last 2 days, our contractor, J. Coda Forestry, completed 19 acres of shaded fuel breaks on privately owned parcels. I have met several times with community leaders to brainstorm on ideas on how to increase community involvement in the project. When we started this project, first thing we did was we did shaded fuel breaks on 2 sides of the 20 miles of road. Within 15 feet of the road, the Property Owners Association gave us permission to do that. We did that. And that was just 2 years ago. So when we did that, we did the usual stuff, took out the brush, limbed up the trees, took out the dead and dying trees. Well, we recently took a little wide round, and there's a whole lot of trees that have died or are dying since we did that work 2 years ago. So we need to get, they're right on the evacuation route, the road. Some of them are really big trees. So we're looking at a plan to propose to use some of our fuel reduction funds to deal with those. And one of the ideas that we had when we talked to the community leaders about increasing community involvement is we do have people who are not comfortable allowing us on their property to work. So for those people, I'm going to propose that we explain to them what a shaded fuel break looks like, what they need to do to accomplish that, and help them map out if they went to the 85 feet on their property that were cleared to work on. And then we provide chipper services. So they do the work on their property, they stack it up along the road, we come along with the chipper. I'm going to combine those 2 projects, getting rid of the newly dead dying trees with chipper services. And it doesn't even just have to be people who want to work. There are a lot of properties that have piles of dead tree branches. Some of them have been there for several years. So we would love to get those chipped too. We scheduled the dog vaccination clinic for March, at which I will share evacuation materials for people and pets. This remains our most fruitful venue for meeting our neighbors and sharing fire safety information. It's a lot of people won't leave if they can't take their pets with them. All kinds of problems can happen if they're not being transported properly. They can mess up an evacuation. Firefighters will stop to save a dog, which is wonderful, but we would prefer that they not have to do that and they keep fighting fire. So it is very important. And like I said, it's one of the few opportunities that I've been able to create to meet community members face to face. We have the new CAL FIRE Battalion Chief in Weed. I met him and I'm really looking forward to working with him. It's gonna be awesome, as they all are. I had an auspicious meeting with community leaders and the new chief, Scott Irvine, and just trying to get off to a good start working together, good working relationship in the community. Last weekend, I spoke to 200 community members at a meeting. I talked about the grant project, the potential chipper days, told them about our new chief. And he couldn't be there. He had planned to, but something came up. So I shared his concerns for him. And he's, as all CAL FIRE people are, always talking about defensible space. His particular concern is that what message he wanted me to give the group was that his first priority is keeping his firefighters safe, and that burning plastic and other potentially hazardous materials are a threat to firefighter safety, and he cannot send his firefighters into situation made dangerous by toxic smoke. So people want to be protected, they need to clean up their property. And then yesterday, Chief Irvine is very interested in the project, and we took a ride around and looked at the evacuation route. We explained how we designed the route, looked at the evacuation signs, and looked at some of the parcels that we've done shaded fuel breaks on. So, looking forward to working with him. He's very enthusiastic.
Yeah, well, Margie, you do great work out there. That evacuation project is phenomenal. More people need to do that because Lake Shastina is the same way. You can't find your way out of there. And Juniper Flat is especially worrisome because it's a maze. And thank you for doing that. Margie does great work and I really appreciate her. So anything else before we move to the next one? Klamath River's not here. Lake Shastina has a grant through CAL FIRE Prevention that's very similar to the one in Dunsmuir. It's going to be over 600 acres of CEQA with about 80 acres of fuel reduction. We've been having a little bit of a problem because after the mill fire moved there, it burned a lot of the area that we were planning to treat. So we're trying to recreate our map and make a better plan with that. But they're very active in moving forward, and it's an awesome opportunity to get some stuff done around Lake Shastina. It's not going to be in the subdivision proper, but around all of Lake Shastina in order to protect that subdivision. So, and then Lower Scott River, if any of these are you, just jump in. McLeod is constantly doing good things. Mount Shasta area. Mount Shasta has 2 active Stevens grant. Eddie, we're mostly are all the way done with the acres that we needed to complete out there. And then we're working on the Old Stage Azalea project. And we have about 10 or 15 acres done of the 150 we've promised, but it's been too wet or too dry or fire season, but we're about to get on that. And then in partnership with Caltrans, and Tom might want to speak to this, we have 2 more projects. One is each along the I-5. One is for a CEQA from Azalea to Edgewood, and the other is for fuel reduction on the west side of the freeway from Azalea to North Dunsmuir. And Juan Cota is on the fuel reduction piece as we speak this week, and I think it's looking pretty good. Tom, any comments? No? All righty. Well, then we'll move on to Orleans. They're not here. If I'm wrong, tell me. Quartz Valley, Salmon River, Syad Valley, Wairika area. Nancy, do you know anything about the Wairika Fire Safe Council?
I can't say that I do because I always have a scheduling conflict and I can't ever go to the meetings.
All right.
Giselle?
Yes.
This is Linda. I just wanted to say, I have seen the work along the Caltrans right of way, the I-5 right of way in North Dunsmuir on Mott Road, and it's looking great.
Awesome. Thank you. So I don't know if Tom could hear me or not, but he has the opportunity if he wants to say something, but all right.
There is one thing I can say. We're going to, I've been talking to George a little bit about getting together with some folks regarding the Wooey area in Wairika, in and around Wairika. And
Yeah.
we're going to start on Cindy, I think you and Wayne might be involved in that. There's some talk of maybe trying to put together a project for some fuel break work in and around Wairika. So
Perfect. Cindy was just asking. That's perfect,
Yeah,
Cindy.
that would be awesome. We have talked with George before, and that's why I'm hoping maybe this can guide into some of that.
yeah, we're
Thank
talking
you.
about it. So it's coming.
Awesome.
And I can add a little bit about, there's some work that the RCD has been doing. We have on Wairika Ridge, or the prominent ridge behind Wairika, we have completed the CEQA for a CAL FIRE project for fuel break, building off of the dozer lines that were put in this summer. So everything's done and ready, and we're putting, the bid's out to contract. So that's due March 8th or something. So that project will be being put in relatively soon. So continuing the work happening around Wairika.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
And that's great to hear that the South Dunsmuir fuel break or roadside clearing is looking good. We finished, or the mastication portion of the roadside fuel break from around Azalea has been, we're working
Right.
on getting it.
Yeah. It was on the east side,
herbicided.
and we're doing the same project on the west side. So team effort takes a village, takes a
Yeah, it's
county.
gonna look really good.
So others present, Julie, this might be a good time.
Sorry about that. Hold on. Giselle, do you have, trying to do my video. Okay, there you go. Did you get that email, or I sent the really brief outline just a few minutes ago.
Oh, I haven't been there.
If you want to bring it up, I was just going to briefly say that this firescaping event is now shaping up to be on the 29th, which is, there was the Bioregional Center they're helping us, helping the Fire Safe Council out, and Giselle reached out to me to re-up it. We did it 2 years ago. It was really well done and well attended, and people really wanted to do a field trip as well. I don't know if we can do all that this year, but threw together just a real rough draft here. And all this is tentative. As you see, it says draft in the background, but that's sort of following the outline we did last year. And it's the 29th at Native Grounds this time, sort of share. Last time it was Spring Hill. And so, share trying to this location this time, and more to come, but maybe save that date if you're interested. And you can see it's interagency, and it weaves the science of fire and how it burns in the different plants, both wild and the community, the local native plants, how fire burns in it. And then, of course, a lot of people already know that, but it is helpful to some hands-on to actually bring the plants in and talk about which plants are more volatile and why, and that kind of thing. And then bringing in the local fire department and some of how it weaves into the structures and the reason you have that zero zone and such, and also have CAL FIRE talk about the defensible space a little bit, as well as the 4291, and about their inspections and how that goes. And anyway, that's kind of the main thing. And plus question and answer from a plant biologist type from the nursery itself or whoever. And then of course the Fire Safe Council and the Bioregional Center reps to talk about a little bit about programs that can help on it. So that's it.
Well, it sounds like a good venue, and we really do need to know how to plant in our yards, what to remove and what to put back. So this ought to be a good workshop. Looking forward to it. All right. Open forum.
Oh.
Hi, Tom.
Giselle, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, finally. Sorry. So yeah, working with Juan Cota as well as your administration and CAL FIRE for Azalea. We really appreciate the partnership. It's really worked out great. Things get bogged down at my end and my pathways, but this relationship is working really great. And as well as for phase 1 and phase 2 of Azalea. And we're working with CAL FIRE as well as Fire Safe Council and Vestra to focus on a new location from Black Butte to Edgewood. We had some complications because of construction conflict. And so it got pushed to enhance the weed location of that route. And then once the construction project over, we will focus in the Mount Shasta area. And then my objective is to try to work my way south. And my biggest hurdle is South Dunsmuir, Castella. That is, I look at it as a beast. I'm trying to manage that right away. And that's going to take some putting our minds together to maximize our dollars and to be effective. But I didn't mention also the Mount Shasta to McLeod. We have that contract had started, was approved in August, and Atlas Trees will be starting that fairly soon as the snow is manageable to work in. And that's 154 acres where we're going to enhance the defensible space and thin the residual trees. So try to get our best bang for our buck for fire safety, evacuation, more solar on the roadway for more solar to melt ice and snow, better line of sight for Animal Crossing, and as well as the enhance the clear recovery zone to allow errant vehicles to time or opportunity to correct themselves rather than wrap the car around a tree. So we're working with that, and so hopefully that'll start soon. But I just wanted to say, out of all, I have 7 counties I work with. Siskiyou County has been the best to work with between CAL FIRE, Fire Safe Council, Shasta Valley RCD. I'm getting the most acres done along our roadway within Siskiyou County. So I just want to tip my hat off to you all, and thank you for working and partnering and making this happen. So good job on all of you. So.
Well, Tom, you've been really easy to work with, and we appreciate you. We appreciate Caltrans being fire safe and concerned, and safety overall, including vehicles being wrapped around trees. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, just one other note. It's really difficult to do this type of work in the roadway. And when Juan pulled up on Monday morning, there were 3 cars in the ditch just south of CHP, basically right where he was going to start, and ripped right through the, I guess, what is it, Siskiyou Avenue. They hit some ice, and there was a couple cars that spun out. that morning. So it's a challenge to meet all our objectives and still be safe with our workers. So just one thing to know that it's complicated. It adds a whole other layer of those cars out there. So
Well, nobody said it was easy, but
no.
it's relative. It needs to be done. So, all right, Kristen, do you have any action items for us?
I was just going to mention that for anyone who wasn't at our South Siskiyou wildfire mitigation group meeting, that we are putting out a survey for any of our partners and organizations in the wildfire mitigation realm that we are sending out via, is it Doodle? You're doing it.
Survey Monkey. We're going to
Survey
send
Monkey?
some questions, and we hope that you all take the time to respond.
Yes, and actually what Tom just said really speaks volumes to kind of what we're trying to get at with this survey is how are we doing? How are we doing with communication and collaboration between all the different entities? So that's awesome to hear, Tom. Really put some wind in our sails. And is definitely accolades to Giselle, keeping all of us going in the right direction and keeping us all on the same page. So yeah, keep an eye out in your email for that survey. We really appreciate the feedback. That's for our county coordinator grant through the California Fire Safe Council. And I was gonna chime in when Linda was doing the Dunsmuir update, but just to give a little bit more information for anyone who hasn't been on previous meetings about the Firewise communities, just a little blurb that we are very excited to be starting our first Firewise communities here in Siskiyou County. And we started the process last summer, and with the core pilot program they did, and we have been waiting recently this past fall for CAL FIRE to organize the first community wildfire risk assessment, since our CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit we haven't done Firewise communities yet. They're not up to speed on that process. So one of the guys at the Reading CAL FIRE headquarters has been working to coordinate that. It's been a little tough with Phil Anzo's retirement and whatnot. So hopefully now that his replacement's hired, we can move forward with that. And then once that, we're learning the ropes in this process with the Firewise community. And so once we do Dunsmuir, we're looking to move north and hopefully get a bunch of Firewise communities started throughout all of Siskiyou County. And the big benefit, if any of you were on our meeting, when was it, last September, I think it was, we had the California State Insurance Commissioner on, letting us know that come January 2023, the state would be mandating all insurance companies to take Firewise community designation into account when they calculate your wildfire risk scores, which is what determines your premium rates and if you get dropped or not. So it really is going to be a big deal to have these Firewise communities getting started in that respect. And besides just getting, people more engaged and taking more responsibility for reducing the risk and preventing loss of life and property. So that's going to be a big push for us this next year. And I think it was Monterey County just recently started Firewise communities as well. And they started 23 in 1 year, I think it was what it was. So we'll see how many we get going. But so yeah, just start spreading the word, I guess, amongst your neighbors that is in the pipeline, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people on board with that. And then the last thing, these aren't really action items, but they were just notes of things I thought we should mention. There's also, if some of you know, my husband, Alex Carter, he's the director of land management for the McConnell Foundation. He is watching our kids right now and he's sick, so he couldn't really jump on and give this update himself, but thought everyone would be interested to know that the McConnell Foundation has they're almost got 100% for sure response that they're getting a $10 million grant through Cal OES. It's been pushed through Cal OES. It's at FEMA right now for review. So that pretty much means it's for sure. And this is going to be a really large scale fuel reduction project around Dunsmuir and Mount Shasta. It's around 3,000 acres mapped out right now, but they'll probably end up increasing that acreage to use up all the funds. You make sure they utilize all the funds. So that will be a huge improvement in wildfire resiliency for those communities. So exciting stuff happening there too.
Yeah, it's really great news. What McConnell has reached out to us and been helping us right along. And then this is on the outskirts all the way around the WUI in Mount Shasta and Dunsmuir. Will protect our two communities. It's a huge deal. One other thing that I should have had in the agenda and I didn't is that Rain Rock Casino is hosting a tournament. They're calling it the Worm Burner Tournament to raise funds to do defensible space and home hardening for folks throughout Siskiyou County. And that's probably going to be in June. We're working on it. Chastity Boucher is heading that up. Her house burned down in the mill fire. And so she's passionate about making this happen. And we plan on being there as an educational component. But if you're interested in golf or you want to be a sponsor, we will be sending out those notices soon. We'd love to have you as a sponsor or host a team if you're a golfer. But it's an opportunity for more monies or more funds to help with home hardening and defensible space throughout Siskiyou County. Kristen, do you have anything more to say about it?
No, I just was going to share the little anecdote that's might be interesting to people that the whole reason this came about was that Chastity at Rain Rock, she's the outreach coordinator for Rain Rock, happened to have a booth right next to me at the Lumberjack Fiesta in McLeod. And it was really slow. There wasn't much traffic going by. So we ended up just chatting a lot and was telling her about the Firewise communities because she told me she's, single mom, 2 kids, just got dropped from her insurance. Can't do all the things that the insurance company gave her that needs to be done to the tune of like 10 grand to clear defensible space, all these things that needed to happen in order to get reinsured. And so I was telling her we were starting the Firewise communities. She was all excited about that. Told her about the insurance stuff in the pipeline. And so she signed up on our email list and said, well, I can't wait to be in touch about this. And then literally a month later, her house burned down with no insurance. So after, having our talk for hours that day on the Lumberjack Fiesta, she was really inspired and went to her bosses at Rain Rock and said, we got to do something about this so the same thing doesn't happen to other people that happened to me. Let's raise money. And with our CORE, the Community Organized Relief Effort, another nonprofit that came to us out of the blue almost a year ago and wanted to do a defensible space clearing program in Dunsmuir for low-income elderly residents who can't afford to pay a contractor to do it for them. Or physically can't do it themselves, and that was hugely successful and very well received in the community. And so basically we're trying to raise funds through this worm burner event to continue that work in other places in Siskiyou County. I was also going to mention, Giselle, that we're waiting to hear back pretty much any day on a $6 million grant that we wrote last fall with CORE to continue doing exactly that, defensible space clearing for low-income elderly residents all throughout Siskiyou County. So that'll be super amazing if we get that $6 million grant, but we'll see. We'll let you guys know next month.
Yeah, so we do a lot of ingress and egress grants, and that seems to be what is mostly funded, but there's not a whole lot for people who can't afford it to do their home hardening and their defensible space. So the grant we wrote with CORE will do that, and the worm burner. Now, don't ask me what worm. It's golf slang. Maybe some of you know what it means, but the worm burner tournament is hopefully going to raise some funds to do a few homes. CORE came to do 20 homes, and they ended up doing 40 throughout Siskiyou County. So
Actually, it was 60. It was 40 something, like 43 in Dunsmuir, and then they did the additional 20 in Happy Camp in the McKinney fire response.
65 total. It was 45 in Dunsmuir, plus
Thank
the 20. Yeah.
that's amazing. That is amazing. So thank you
And then
guys for all your
the,
hard work there.
The worm burner event will be an annual event. So this is, going to be a huge deal to have an annual event with that income for this very important purpose, and also raising awareness. And, obviously interagency folks, hopefully CAL FIRE, if they're not out on a fire, will be there, and it'll really raise a lot of awareness in the community and gets other sponsors and organizations on board with this effort. So, and these people, I mean, Giselle and I would know the first thing to do a golf tournament fundraiser, especially on the scale. They're getting a car donated. I mean, it's going to be a big deal event. So pretty amazing that they're wanting to do this for us, to have the Fire Safe Council in partnership to do this for Siskiyou County.
It is.
Do you have dates on that tournament yet?
They were going to do it in April, but it's moving a little bit slower, the process. So they talked today about making it in June, but there will be a campaign to get the word out. If you know anybody who would like to sponsor this event, either send them to Chastity or myself, and we'll sign them up. And they can, it's a deduction, it's a tax deduction if they donate anything too. So anyway.
And also raffle items, not just like monetary, but they're doing silent auction and raffle. So any, items like that, any businesses that anyone knows that might be willing to donate raffle or auction items, that would be great too.
Absolutely. So Julie got kicked off by accident. And did you have something you wanted to add, Julie?
I don't know if I was pretty much done on what I had said. I was just gonna mention that I had left a message for Keith Cummins, who replaced Matt Hill there at the training battalion, or what, I'm not sure, Susie, what the title, but and Susie on possibly utilizing the Fire Academy, one of the training rooms, for the May 6th fire preparedness event that was last year. That once again, the Bioregional Center worked with for that event. So that'd be a great place for it. It was a little small, that room, and a few other things that would be a lot better. And I don't know yet, I haven't heard anything. And Susie, I know, has been swamped. I don't think she's available since that is Fire Prevention Day, but if we could work with her ahead, that's my hope. And she's got her hand up. Then anyway, go ahead.
I forgot, Julie, thank you for reminding me. We did hire a new training chief. I apologize. That was one that I forgot. It's actually Henry Oakes. Same phone number. He hasn't taken it over yet, but Henry Oakes will be the new training chief. I'll make sure he gets a hold of you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, next meeting, March 8th, 2023. That is the next Wednesday, right? Second Wednesday of March. Double check me all. And anything else before we sign off? Great meeting. You all have had really.
Only thing is, you guys, I think everyone can see this. Alex Varner message saying he stepped away from the computer and missed when you called on him to do a update for the Salmon River Fire Safe Council.
Oh,
and just said,
does he want to do it now? Alex, do you want to do it now?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we are going to have an in-person meeting for the Salmon River Fire Safe Council on March the 22nd at 2 p.m. in Forks of Salmon.
Awesome. be fun to get down there. We had a, fortunate family was very instrumental in starting the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County. So we would like to be part of that if we can get there. So anyway,
Great, thank you.
yeah, thank you.
One more comment.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say that our previous battalion chief, Kent Cunningham, got a much deserved promotion, and he's working in Wairika now in the main office, and I'm very happy for him. He worked real hard a long time. And he needs to be home with his family more. But he was great to work with too.
Who was that, Margie? I didn't catch the name.
Chief Kent Cunningham has been our battalion chief for a couple years, and he was promoted to an administrative position in headquarters in Wairika.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Julie, I see your hand is do you have
I'm curious if Tom March, I know hasn't been able to communicate. I'm just curious if feedback from him on how that's going with the Caltrans project there, and back when Chief Ando, which is now Laws, had mentioned the air curtain burner, which there could be a different company running that now, but he had mentioned there would be enough material to maybe get that moving up here in Siskiyou County. And so I'm curious if you have any input or feedback on that, on how much material is coming off and the needs for.
Well, it's all getting masticated right now, shipped on site. So that's where the material is being processed on the Azalea. For the Mount Shasta Cloud project, the timber thinning is a compensation. It's a part of the bid package. So when a contractor bids on it, he's expecting to use that product to offset the cost of the contract. So it's up to him on how it gets perceived. The burners have been brought up to us, and my issue is feasibility with logistics on getting the material from A to B. And it's all about if it works well. If we I think that would be a great thing for some of these post fire because we're left with huge amounts of material and trying to manipulate process that. But the roadsides are a lot of slope material, so it's great to put it back and for soil erosion and prevention that way. To answer your question, we're looking into it, but it's up to the contractor, and then but no, we haven't proceeded anywhere with them.
Thanks.
All right, you had a big echo there, Tom, but I think we kind of got that. Someone suggested we mute our mics, but I think everybody was pretty much muted and it still didn't work for us. So, but anyway, did anybody not get what Tom had to say? All right, so I think we're good. Well, March 8th, 2023, 5:30, another Zoom meeting, unless we decide differently between now and then. And we appreciate you all and all your good input and all your good work. And I guess we'll see you next time. Any last words from anybody? All right.
Appreciate you, Giselle.
Oh, thank you, Lynn.